Evening, everyone. It's 6:24 p.m. on Tuesday, the 25th. This is your closing comment video number 1769. So let's get right to this. As I'm sure you already know, the market was down 344 in the Dow, 235 in the Nasdaq, 65 in the S&P, almost 43 in the Russell 2000, and the biggest loser on the day were the transports, down 524 or 3.62%. You can pretty much thank UPS for that. I believe well over 125 points was just UPS. This morning, when I gave you my commentary, I reported the miss on top and bottom line and the fact that the stock was down 4%. Well, it continued down and closed at 175.80, down 20.05 or 10.25%. Also, big news, and probably one of the biggest catalysts for the market being down, was First Republic Corp. Yesterday, it went from up 12% to down 12%, was up 12% during the day. And then when the numbers came out, it showed a beat, both top and bottom line, but a massive withdrawal rate for deposits of 40% of deposits. The stock had closed at 16. It opened this morning at 12 and a quarter was the high. And that was what we were looking at this morning. It actually finished at 792, traded to 792, finished 814, down 768 or 49%. Earnings after the close, we had Google with a beat. The stock had closed 103.85, down 212, traded up to 110. The big positive there was increase in revenues from ad sales. Was down as low as 105. Last trade is 106.38. It shows only up about 40 cents, but in point of fact, that's about $2.60 higher than where it closed. Microsoft was a huge beat. And it's been getting pounded the last couple of days. I think yesterday it was down about $4. The day before, I think it was also down. They have just pounded it relentlessly. But the bottom line here is that they also beat, and after closing at 275, it traded up to 294. Last is 293.01. That's up $11.53 or 4%. I will tell you on the screen we have the futures, and the futures are open already for tonight, and the NASDAQ futures are up 162, and that is primarily um, Microsoft. Um, of Dow stocks, we had, of the 30 Dow stocks, 22 down and only 8 up. Um, and Microsoft, obviously, one of those. Back to the market for a second. Internals were exceptionally weak, 5-1 to the downside on the NYSE, 3.5-1 on the Nasdaq, which was down 235, and 4.8 billion shares. That's identical to yesterday. I also want to point out, in looking at these futures, that the S&P is also showing up about 19. But to put that in perspective, even though Microsoft is in that one, they were down 65. So up 20 is really not a particularly meaningful move. Okay, Enphase, a miss on revenues, a slight beat, but poor guidance going forward. The stock had closed at 220.60. That was down 4. So 220.60, and then it immediately traded to 181.55. That was down 183.80 or $40.80 or 18%. So another one that really has gotten pounded. McDonald's was a beat, and this morning when we talked about it, it was up 1%. It actually finished down about 0.8%. Dow Chemical with a big miss on revenues and demand for plastics, and the import prices, the input prices for making that. Stock had closed 55.39, and that finished the day today 52.51, down 288 or 5.2%. On the news front, we had the FHFA housing number, the index. It was zero point 0.5 versus zero point 0.1 expected. Case Shiller also down 0.4% versus last month's up 2.6%. New home sales up 9.6% on a month to month basis. However, on a year over year basis, they're down 3.4. Consumer confidence, what a beat there. 101.30 versus an expectation of 104.1 versus last month's 104 flat. On a year over year basis, though, it was down from 108.6 to 101. The expectance index, that's what small businesses are looking at and what they're expecting going forward. This is the 13th out of 14 months where that index is below 80, signaling recession. Oil was down $1.70. The gold was up $4.70, even though the silver was down 43 cents. Tonight, we're going pretty much in the same direction, except up 280 on the gold, up 19 cents on the silver. Platinum also up. We put on a position in FCX today on the basis of where the copper was. Copper is right at support. If it breaks here, then frankly, we have a very close stop. And I think we're well supported in this area around 381. We actually bought our position versus about 383. So we bought it very close to the low, and on the day, those options that we paid between 98 cents and 104 actually closed 106. So in a down market, we bought pretty much the low, and we closed pretty much, not pretty much, exactly on the high for the day. Tomorrow we have durable goods. We have retail sales, wholesale inventories. Those are all early. At 10:30 we have crude inventories. The dollar was a bit stronger today, closed at 101.59, up 0.52, even though the bonds were higher, making interest rates lower. As I mentioned this morning, unusual for that. Usually, the higher the interest rates, the more that the bond for the bonds, the stronger the dollar gets. Okay, folks, didn't get my oral surgery done today. Going to try it tomorrow morning at 10:30. It's what I get for watching the market and having too high blood pressure. I'll be back in the morning.